Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to the 2019 St. John Hudson High School Promenade, Marmalade. I'd like to bring out our first couple of the evening. I'll read a little bit about them. This is stuff they wrote, so I apologize in advance. Coming out first are Hunter Hansen and Atara Walker. Hunter said his funniest high school memory was killing all of the fish in Mr. Delp's class. Said the job he would be terrible at would be an office job because he doesn't like to sit around. If Atara could eat one food for the rest of her life, she would choose Big Macs. And if she could be one animal for the rest of her life, she would be a sloth. Hunter and Atara. Next we have Dalton Nemec and Kendall Hines. Dalton said his funniest high school memory was when he put funny nicknames on Kahoot in history class and the whole class was laughing. Dalton said if he or Kendall won the lottery, they would spend the money on a mansion and fancy vehicles. And if Kendall could eat one food for the rest of her life, she would eat pizza. Dalton and Kendall. Next, we have Nicholas Gift and Melissa Williamson. Melissa's funniest high school memory is when she got to coach the boys during Ironman volleyball. She said the job she'd be terrible at would be a fashion model because she is clumsy. Watch your step, please. If Nicholas could eat one food for the rest of his life, he would eat pizza or hot wings, and that's not one food, that's two foods. If Melissa and Nicholas won the lottery, they would use the money to pay off debt. Wouldn't we all? Nicholas and Melissa. Next, we have Uriel Claros and Jackie Rios. Jackie's funniest high school memory would probably have to be a choice between the reaction Paige gave when she got hit in the face with a volleyball or the summer Erin got her face smashed in a car window. Jackie said she'd be bad at any job that involved building because it took her close to a month to build a windmill for physics. If Uriel and Jackie had to eat one thing for the rest of their lives, they would choose pizza. And if Uriel could be one animal for the rest of his life, he would choose a wolf so he could howl at the moon. Uriel, give us a howl. Uriel and Jackie. Next we have Trey Fisher and Riley Gleason. If Trey won the lottery, he would spend his money on a new car. If Riley could be any animal, she would be a groundhog. So she would have a holiday about her, predict the seasons, and sleep all of the time. Trey and Riley. Cash McVeigh and Dayton Long. Cash's favorite high school memory was winning state cross country by 1 point his sophomore year. He said he would be a terrible nurse or doctor because he cannot deal with any bodily fluids or unpleasant conditions like that. Dayton said the job she would be terrible at would be a model because she eats too much. And if she could be any animal, she'd pick a monkey because they're cute. Cash and Dayton. Next we have Garrett Rodarmel and Don Harrison. If Garrett could be any animal, he would be a dog because he likes dogs and they sleep all day. If Garrett won the lottery, he'd use the money to buy a ranch and lots of cows. Dawn said the job she would be terrible at would be a stock girl because she's short and she couldn't reach the top shelf. Garrett and Dawn. Our next two are Jordan Taylor and Vanessa Moreno. If Jordan could be any animal, he'd be a honey badger because they're cute and cuddly. If Vanessa or Jordan had to eat one thing for the rest of their lives, they would eat food. Duh. Vanessa's funniest high school memory was when she got her finger stuck in the courtyard picnic table, and we think it's still there. If Vanessa or her date won the lottery, they would not spend the money. Wise investors. Jordan and Vanessa. Next, we have Jaron Britton and Katie Burke. Jaron's funniest high school memory was when he fell through the ceiling in shop class. Let's not ask why. If Jaron could be any animal, he'd be a dog, so he could sleep in a nice warm house. Jaron said Katie would be a bad mechanic because she knows nothing about vehicles. If Katie could be any animal, she'd be a bear because she likes to sleep and she's grumpy when you wake her up. Jaron and Katie. Our next couple is Quincy Smith and Bree Meyer. If Quincy had to eat one thing for the rest of his life, he would eat pizza. If he could be any animal, he'd be a dog because even if they're ugly, girls still think they are cute. Bree's funniest high school memory is when she accidentally ran over Ethan during a volleyball game after a shanked ball. The job Bree would be terrible at would be a chef because she melted a spatula to the pan while making grilled cheese and also burnt the grilled cheese. Quincy and Bree. Next, we have Colin Holling and Aaron Chrisman. Aaron's funniest high school memory is when she rode with Coach Smith to an MAYB tournament, and he almost cut her neck off with the window. According to Aaron, if Colin could be any animal, he would be a bat, because he's pretty much blind without his contacts. We'll give you a pause there. Help her, Colin. Oh wait, he can't see her, sorry. Colin says the job he would be terrible at would be a NASCAR driver because he isn't a good driver. If Colin won the lottery, he would buy the Timberwolves organization. Colin and Aaron. Next, we have Sayad Pepich and Darby Smith. Sayad's favorite high school memory was his first basketball game when he tackled two guys. I'm not sure he understands the rules. If Sayad won the lottery, he would invest in something. Darby said she couldn't be a teacher because she ain't got no grammar. If Darby could eat one thing for the rest of her life, she would eat ice cream. Sayad and Darby. Please welcome Joel Ortiz and Macy Gwynn. Joel said if he won the lottery, he would spend the money on a lot of McChickens. Joel said his funniest high school memory is sleeping at a McDonald's parking lot for the night, probably for a lot of McChickens. If Macy won the lottery, she would spend her money to buy a mansion. And if she could eat one thing for the rest of her life, she would choose mashed potatoes. Joel and Macy. Next, we have Tanner Holling and Mackenzie Wright. Tanner's funniest high school memory was at the Larned JV track meet when he took off for the 4x100 and face-planted immediately. If Tanner could be any animal, he would choose to be an anaconda. If Mackenzie could eat one thing for the rest of her life, she would eat queso. Tanner and Mackenzie. Please welcome Austin Wolf and Whitney Brummer. Whitney's funniest high school memory comes from anything that happens in the Cheers Suburban, but what happens in the Cheers Suburban stays in the Cheers Suburban. If Whitney could eat one thing for the rest of her life, she would eat Mexican food. Austin's funniest high school memory is when he had to use the eye wash station in Mr. Delp's room after getting plaster in his eyes from art class. Austin says the job he would be terrible at would be an art teacher because he can't keep plaster out of his eyes. Austin and Whitney. Next, Marshall Wolf and Bailey Schrog. Marshall said the job he would be terrible at would be a cook because he would eat all the food. Marshall said if Bailey won the lottery, college debt would be a breeze. Oh, and a truck would be nice. If Bailey could eat one thing for the rest of her life, she would choose hot Cheetos. Her funniest high school memory is when she threw a piece of buttered toast at Whitney's face. Marshall and Bailey. Please welcome Mason Osborne and Brittany Schrog. Mason said if Brittany could be any animal, she'd be an alligator because she is mean. Brittany said if Mason was an animal, he'd be a donkey because he is beyond stubborn. Mason said if Brittany could eat one thing for the rest of her life, she would eat Chinese food. According to Brittany, if Mason could eat one thing for the rest of his life, he would eat those yogurt parfaits from White's because Brittany swears that's all he eats now. This is going to be a wonderful evening between these two. Mason and Brittany. Please welcome Ethan Houston and Shayla Garcia. If Ethan could eat one food for the rest of his life, Shayla said he would eat Skittles because he eats 10 pounds of that stuff already. If Ethan could be an animal, Shayla said he would be a dog because he's always excited about something. He loves to chase cars. Weirdo. I didn't make that up, that's what she wrote. Shayla said she would awful as a mechanic because 1, she can't see out of one eye, and 2, she would blow up the entire town. Ethan and Shayla. Please welcome Elijah Delp and Riley Burbank. Riley's funniest high school memory is when she got left behind from a class leadership meeting and nobody noticed she wasn't in the car until they left town. Riley would not be a good math teacher because she is not good at math. If Elijah could be any animal, he'd be a cheetah so he could run really fast. And if he won the lottery, he would invest the money so he could make more. Elijah and Riley. Next, we have AJ Miller and Destiny Hassel. If AJ could eat one thing for the rest of his life, he would pick bread because he always be getting the bread. AJ said he would be a terrible pizza delivery guy because he doesn't have time for deliveries. It's DiGiorno. That was a joke. He wrote it. If Destiny could be any animal, she'd be a panda because they are fat, fluffy, and get to eat all day. And if she won the lottery, she'd use the money to pay for college. AJ and Destiny. Please welcome Liam Lanterman and Jordan Willinger James. Liam's funniest high school memory was when Take On Me by Aha started playing at last year's prom, and some of the boys and himself all did the best mates dance. If Jordan won the lottery, she would spend the money on a village for the homeless in the U.S. or the starving in Africa. Liam and Jordan. Please welcome Dylan Reed and Paige Doran. If Dylan could eat one thing for the rest of his life, he would eat Freddy's fry sauce. If he won the lottery, he'd run away with his dad to buy lots of cars. Paige's funniest high school memory is when she smashed her face into the bleachers at Haven. She said she would make an awful school counselor because she would tell everyone to just wing it. Dylan and Paige. Please welcome Trevor Tanner, Charisma Haney, and America Fernandez. Trevor's funniest high school memory is when he locked himself in the uniform locker area. If Charisma could eat one thing for the rest of her life, she would choose to eat fried chicken. If America could be any animal, she'd be a bear because they get to stuff their faces for 9 months and then sleep for 3 months straight. Trevor, Charisma, and America. Next, we have Edwin Fernandez and Jaden Reed. Edwin would be a bad tailor because he is bad at sewing. And Edwin would eat pizza for the rest of his life if he could, which technically you could. Jaden's funniest high school memory is when the water pump in the greenhouse completely soaked Quincy right before leaving for a track meet. And Jaden said she would eat mangoes for the rest of her life, which, again, you probably could. Edwin and Jaden. Please welcome Chase Mansell and Kaylin Clausen. Chase's funniest high school memory was when the high schoolers wrapped themselves in toilet paper at a pep assembly. If Chase won the lottery, he would spend his money on a Ford Raptor with a John... Okay, this is way too complicated. I can't pronounce that. It's a really awesome car, is that right? Was it a car? Okay, sweet. An awesome car. Kaylin said she'd be a sloth if she could be any animal. Chase and Kaylin. Please welcome Eddie Claros and Peyton Meyer. Eddie's funniest high school memory was when his shorts came down during a JV basketball game, and we were all traumatized. Eddie said the job he would be terrible at would be coaching because he would lose his mind. Think about how Coach Kinman feels. If Peyton could eat one thing for the rest of her life, she would eat mozzarella sticks. And if she won the lottery, she'd spend it on a chauffeur because she is a terrible driver. Eddie and Peyton. Please welcome Zachary Blue and Nevaeh Haney. Zachary said the job he would be terrible at would be a sewer cleaner because he hates getting dirty. Nevaeh said if she had to eat one thing for the rest of her life, she would pick an avocado. Zachary and Nevaeh. Please welcome Quentin Seeley and Shelby Weaver. Shelby said her funniest high school memory was when she fell coming into school and Mr. Olive caught it on camera and showed everyone. If Quentin could eat one thing for the rest of his life, he would choose macaroni and cheese. If Shelby could be any animal, she'd be a bear because she'd love to hibernate for a couple of months. Quentin would be a horse because they are well fed and taken care of. Quentin and Shelby. Please welcome Edson Gracia and Itzel Guillen. Edson's funniest high school memory was his first day of school here, and he couldn't understand anybody. If Edson and Itzel could eat one thing for the rest of their lives, they would choose Mexican food. And if Itzel could be any animal, she would be a horse. Edson and Itzel. Please welcome Jacqueline Ramirez and Trinidad Garcia. Jacqueline says her favorite animal is a horse because they run fast and are free-spirited. And Trinidad could eat any food for the rest of his life. He would eat rice because he loves it. Jacqueline and Trinidad. Please welcome Destiny Talbot and Lachlan Dunce. Destiny's funniest high school moment was when I fell on the bus and went under the seat. Ouch. The food she would eat for the rest of her life is ribs. Lachlan's funniest high school moment was creating Harold. I don't know what that means, but I'm sure it's something. The job he'd most be terrible at is teacher because he doesn't like little kids. Okay. Destiny and Lachlan. Please welcome Clayton Houston and Brianna Clark. If Clayton could eat one food for the rest of his life, he'd eat pasta because I like it, and there are many different ways to make it. If Brianna could eat one food for the rest of her life, she would choose mozzarella sticks. Brianna and Clayton. Okay. And please welcome Riley McCandless. The job Riley would be terrible at would be a math teacher because he's awful at math. And Riley's favorite band in the entire world, I'm taking a wild guess at it because he missed my class, 2 of my classes last week to go to a concert in Kansas City, is Weezer. Is that correct? Okay, yes it is. Riley McCandless. I'd like to thank the following for their help with setting up for prom. Lori Messick for the galvanized metal and porcelain dishes. Wendy Hacker in the theater department for the wagon wheels, Fisher Farms for the cotton plants, Roxana Jones for the quilt and the wooden bench, and the doors that you see in front of you are the old classroom doors that were recently replaced. They were painted and put together by Mr. Moritz in his shop class. So we want to thank all those people. Give them one round of applause. It'd be fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming to our promenade. You can come down, take pictures. Students, you can come back out, say hi to people. Thank you so much, and good evening.